back. This is the second video that I'm shooting on this groovy little tune by Herbie Hancock called Watermelon Man. Back in 1962, he recorded this one. I think he did two different versions, two different recordings, if I remember correctly. And so now what we're going to take a look at is the play-along track and how to solo over this 16-measure blues, right? You'll notice that there's no fancy stuff. There's no fancy passing chords and no diminished chords, no 2-5-1s. It's just basic chordal platforms, meaning here we're playing over an F7, here we're playing over a B flat 7, here we're playing over a C7, and so on, right? And so the trick is going to be to follow the chord progression, really, and try to define the chords as best we can. The way I would start with something like this is with the arpeggio, and that's the way we're going to look at this. B flat 7, right? If you want a reference to this kind of stuff, you can check out my book called Essentials for the Improvising Guitar Player. You can find that on Amazon. All right, and then C7. We can use the same arpeggio we did with B flat 7, or we can use that 7th arpeggio, right? So that we stick sort of in the same region. F. Now, I'm not suggesting that this is a solo. That's not a solo. That's an arpeggio. That's like learning a template. That's like you're going to paint something, right? And so what the first thing you do is you put a palette in your left hand. I don't paint, but you put a palette in your left hand and you mix up the colors you're going to use, right? There you go. Yeah, and mix it up there. Those are the colors I'm going to use in this backwash or in this, landscape or whatever the case is. And the same thing goes for, okay, let me conceptualize what I'm going to do with this. How am I going to play over this thing, right? Well, I'm going to start with my arpeggios because I know that an F7 chord is made up of these notes. So, that seems pretty safe. And a B flat 7 chord is made up of those notes and so on, right? And then you start to play with that, but that doesn't mean you play them, like over all 6 strings. This is just what you have as material, right, to use. Okay, so that's the first thing I do, and it's not a bad idea to be able to just as a warm up use the arpeggios before you start really working on phrases. I'll show you what I mean. So, arpeggio. So you're probably hearing the arpeggio that when I'm playing it, and I'm also throwing in little double stops, especially when it comes to the tritone of the B flat 7 and the C7. I could throw in the tritone of the F too. As a matter of fact, I think I better demonstrate how cool tritones are. When I take out the roots of the chords and just use the tritones, here's my F7, and then B flat 7 is going to be a semitone away, and then C7 a semitone above. So in other words, B flat 7 is a semitone below the F7 tritone, and C7 is a semitone above the F7 tritone. Hey, if you're learning something, if you're getting something out of this video, make sure to like and subscribe, ask a question, leave a comment, or buy me a coffee. Thanks. Let's check that out. I'll show you what I mean. It's something you should know. B flat 7, check it out. A whole tone. Tritone. Okay, good. That's cool. Now let's expand on the tritone. There's an inversion of the tritone. Inversions of the tritone, right? They're the same shape, with the exception of the B string, which is different tuning. So I'll show you how you can think when it comes to tritones. Okay, good. Tritones are a cool way to sort of mark the territory that you're going to be playing in, right? So think of those chords. Have the chords underneath F7, B flat 7, C7, or C7 is probably easier to think there. Okay. And then now, this is a big deal. So you've got the arpeggios underneath your fingers. You've got a couple of little chords underneath your fingers. I would suggest using some different voicings, like you could do F9, B flat 13. Right, play some voicings, play around with some stuff. So you're starting to build up material that you can use to solo, right? And now here's a big deal. What you want to do is define the chord. Now it should be no big deal to define the first chord because it's there for 4 whole measures. But when you've got the new chord of B flat 7 coming up, you want to nail the note that makes this chord different than the F7 chord, right? So the B flat 7 chord, what note in the B flat 7 chord is not present in the F7 chord, right? So the B flat chord has an F note in it. If you played the F note, that wouldn't be terribly interesting. But the F7 chord, the D note in the B flat 7 chord, there's no D note in an F7. So that's a nice note to nail, and it's in that tritone. And I'll show you what I mean. If you then you immediately will hear that the chords have changed, right? And that's sort of the trick. There's the third of the F. And so on. So what I'm trying to do is define the chords and And the best way, the most effective notes to define are the third of the chord. So in the case of F, the third would be is that A. In the case of the B flat, the third is the D. Remember, the third is in the tritone, right? And C7, the third would be the E. As a last exercise right now, I would suggest playing with the flat 3 as well. So here is the 3 in the F. And in flat 3 to the 3. And also maybe add the 7th. There's the 7 and the 3 of the B flat. So when I'm thinking of the 7, here's my root of the F. Here's my flat 3 leading to the 3, and the 7 is a tone below the root. And the same is going to happen with the B flat. B flat, flat 3, 3, flat 7 below the root, flat 7. Flat 7, right? Those are nice bluesy tones, and the flat 3 should generally lead to the major 3 to make that sound legit. So that's the way I would approach soloing over a tune like this. What's going to make it sound good from a solo perspective is being able to develop lines that are really nice, classic, clean, bluesy lines that define the chord changes. I don't think a bunch of chromatic tones and unless they're very delicately used. When I say chromatic tones, you can use a chromatic note that leads to a chord tone, as we did with the flat 3. And you could do it from the 6 to the 7. Right? Or you could even do it to the 5. Right? But they have to be going in the right direction. They have to lead to the chord tones. So those were just lower chromatic neighboring tones, right? And I'm not going to get into that right now. So this is really about chord tones. It's about how to build a solo. It's about how to learn to establish elements that belong in a solo. So begin by learning your arpeggios, and then add some nice chords and play along with that. Then do a combination of the chords and the and single note lines. Work with it a little bit. That's a big difference. Just came to mind just now. It's a big difference playing. Oh man, can I? As a duo, for instance, with an upright player and just guitar player, you don't want to just end up with single notes because it's just going to sound thin. So you're looking for chords and fat stuff to play all the time. And that's going to be different than playing in a trio with a trumpet player and a bass player. That's going to be different than playing with a trumpet player and a drummer and an upright player. It's also single note lines. If I was playing with a Rhodes player or a keyboard player or a piano player, I wouldn't really hesitate to play single note lines because the piano player is doing too much already, right? That's why you learn things like this is so that you can you could develop something like this into solo material, but you sort of have to be thinking thinking two or three parts at the same time. Okay, that's about it for today. I think this is a great little tune. There's lots to learn here. And make sure to check out both the videos, like, subscribe, all the stuff. I don't get a ton of traction with teaching what I teach, and so any comments and any questions are appreciated to keep me going. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you again real soon, I hope.